Whew, semaglutide. You know how many times I had to practice that today? Semaglutide. 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 Okay? Under the names of Ozempic, Rybelsus, and Wegovy. All right. So, I rarely discuss topics related to prescription drugs, but this next one is exactly that. Hopefully it'll make sense why, but at the very end I'll explain kind of why I want to go down this path today. So, semaglutide is about type 2 diabetes and weight loss. And it's a type 2 diabetes and now a weight loss drug, which goes by the trade names you see there, Ozempic, Rybelsus, and Wegovy. So on June 4th, 2021, this thing is new, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration announced the FDA approves new drug treatment for chronic weight management, first since 2014. The drug they were referring to is semaglutide. And in this case, since it's for weight management, it's the Wegovy one, okay? And it's a 2.4 milligram once weekly injection. They give you a little pen, it's a simple injection. So I'll explain why knowing the trade names Ozempic, Rybelsus, and Wegovy, which are all semaglutide by the way, why those are important to know the difference in a bit. So who did the FDA say this new weight management drug was for? Well, it's for adults with a BMI of 30 or greater. We just talked about that, right? Or those with a BMI of 27 or greater and who have at least one weight-related ailment, such as high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, or high cholesterol. So if your BMI is 30 or greater, it's all ready for you. You don't need anything else. If your BMI is under 30, but it's 27 or greater, and you've got at least one of those weight-related ailments or things like that, then the drug is also indicated for you as well, if you and your doctor find that it makes the most sense for you. So the FDA also indicated that it's for use in addition to a reduced calorie diet and increased physical activity. In addition. That's important to know now and at all times. It's important to remember the drug is in addition to a reduced calorie diet and increased physical activity. Okay? So, what is semaglutide? Semaglutide, as Ozempic, Rybelsus, and Wegovy, is a medicine used for weight loss in specific patients. That'd be the Wegovy version, okay? And to lower blood sugar and reduce the risk of major cardiovascular events such as stroke, heart attack, or stroke in the type 2 diabetes patients. As you'll see in a moment, Ozempic and Rybelsus are the ones that are more for the type 2 diabetes, and the Wegovy is the weight loss drug, but they're all semaglutide. Semaglutide is a GLP-1 agonist. Mouthful, right? What is a GLP-1 agonist? Well, what is GLP-1? Well, GLP-1 is short for glucagon-like peptide 1. And GLP-1 is a hormone produced in the gut and released in response to food. And an agonist is a drug or substance that binds to a receptor inside a cell or on its surface and causes the same action as the substance that normally binds to the receptor. So, semaglutide is not GLP-1, but it acts a lot like GLP-1. It's a GLP-1 agonist. Mimics, it acts like a GLP-1. Has similar actions in the body. So in general, what's a GLP-1 agonist do? Well, when blood sugar levels start to rise after someone eats, a GLP-1 agonist stimulates the body to produce more insulin. The extra insulin helps lower blood sugar levels. Lower blood sugar levels are helpful for controlling type 2 diabetes, but it's not clear exactly how the GLP-1 drugs lead to weight loss. Doctors do know that GLP-1s appear to help curb hunger. Obviously, that would be a huge factor on the weight loss, right? These drugs also slow the movement of food from the stomach into the small intestine. So obviously, if that happens, you might feel fuller longer. So you eat less, okay? In March of 2021, what is arguably the most prestigious peer-reviewed journal on earth, the New England Journal of Medicine, released the results of a large study where 1,961 participants used Wegovy for the treatment of obesity. Okay? Wegovy, again, semaglutide at 2.4 milligrams typically. And they found that once weekly treatment with 2.4 milligrams of semaglutide as Wegovy, plus lifestyle intervention among individuals with overweight or obesity, they had a mean change in body weight of about 14.9%, down, that is, the body weight went down 14.9% after 68 weeks. That's a long time. That's more than a year, 16 weeks longer than a year, compared with body weight just going down 2.4% as seen in the placebo group. So in addition, 86% of participants who received the treatment, semaglutide, right, as Wegovy, attained at least a 5% reduction in total body weight. Okay? I think it's very important to include, as always, that the authors did say, quote, lifestyle intervention consisting of diet and exercise remains the cornerstone of weight management. But the authors did acknowledge, quote, sustaining weight loss over the long term is challenging, which is why they're always looking for drugs like this and other avenues that can help people get more success in this area. They said, so lifestyle intervention, what was the lifestyle intervention side of things? Well, it included counseling sessions every 4 weeks to help participants adhere to a reduced calorie diet and increase physical activity. 150 minutes per week was encouraged, which is super basic, right? But it was encouraged and promoted. Daily diet and activity were recorded in a diary via smartphone application or using other tools. So just on the lifestyle intervention side of things, I think it's important that you take home the fact that participants didn't just take the drug and continue to live in a manner that supports obesity. Nope. They weren't able to just live on pizza, donuts, and ice cream and drop this weight. They took the drug and changed their nutrition and activity habits. In addition to this, they used a smartphone to log food, activity, and weight and received counseling every 4 weeks. Does any of this sound familiar? I hope so. Even so, let me be clear, and I want to give them credit. The people, I want to give the drug credit and the participants in the study and how it was set up. The people who were on the drug did a lot better than those receiving the same counseling and lifestyle suggestions who were not on the drug. Losing 15% of your today weight and having that 15% of your today weight still be gone in 68 weeks, if you're obese today, that's massive. And if you can keep it off, it's very likely you're going to enjoy both everyday living, health, and longevity benefits for this degree of change. That's significant. 15%, and it was 15%, the mean was 15%, 68 weeks after the start. That's significant. And that's why medical professionals and some researchers are really talking about semaglutide and the Wegovy version of it. So what about side effects? None of these things come without side effects. All right, so common side effects of Wegovy may include nausea, diarrhea, vomiting, constipation, stomach, abdomen pain, headache, tiredness, fatigue, upset stomach, dizziness, feeling bloated, belching gas, stomach flu, and heartburn. There are plenty of other potential side effects, so I'll just say Google it and read about the other side effects. There are plenty, all right, but those are the most common there. Let's talk price. This is kind of interesting. It's very expensive. This is from GoodRx. The Wegovy version is what I've got here on the screen, because that's the obesity version, will run you about $1,300 a month. Most insurance companies will pay nothing for it until you've met your out-of-pocket medical prescription drug deductible. Okay, so I want to talk about that a second. So here's the deal. So in looking at this today, for Mary and I, we have Blue Cross Blue Shield here in Illinois. I called them, got a medical card like everybody does, called the number on the back. I spoke to a pharmacy prescription advocate with Blue Cross Blue Shield. Very nice people, they were very helpful. And what I've learned is the way it worked for us, and of course I'm not interested, but I just wanted to be able to share this with you. The way it worked for us is I would pay the full amount of the drug, $1,300 a month, until I had an out-of-pocket combination between medical and prescription drugs of $2,200. Once I had met $2,200 between medical and prescription drugs, once I'd reached that, it goes to an 80-20 split where Blue Cross pays 80%, I still have to cover 20%, which would be about $260 a month. This would continue until I met my total individual deductible, which for us is $5,200 individual, $10,400 for a family. Once I reached the $5,200 individual, at that time it'd be 100% covered, no deductible. That's how it would work for us. Every insurance company is different, and that's why I'm talking to you here about this, and I'll tell you about that. So something I found really interesting in talking with Blue Cross is if I was prescribed Ozempic, see the names up there, Ozempic, Rybelsus, and Wegovy? If I was prescribed Ozempic, which is the same drug, Semaglutide, but at a lower dose, and instead of it being used for the treatment of obesity, it's used for the treatment of type 2 diabetes. And its objective is to lower the A1C, okay? So people that are type 2 diabetic have high A1Cs, which is absolutely known to be unhealthy. And so lowering the A1C is a very important biomarker, very important strategy for improving health, lifespan, all the parameters related to the problems of type 2 diabetes. Anyway, that's what Ozempic is for. So if I was prescribed Ozempic instead of Wegovy for the type 2 diabetes, let's say I was taking it for that purpose, then Blue Cross Blue Shield and the organization that is providing our insurance through Mary's Workplace, they have an agreement where things that are preventative, and at that point Ozempic, being a type 2 diabetes drug, is considered a preventative. Because it's a preventative, if I was prescribed Ozempic, which still costs $1,000 a month out of pocket if you were going to do it cash, if I was prescribed Ozempic through Blue Cross Blue Shield because of that interaction between the employer and the insurer and the insurance company, and it's a preventative, it's a $10 copay. That's it. A $10 copay a month for Ozempic and zero coverage until you've met your deductible if it's Wegovy for obesity. So that's kind of bizarre, but it is what it is right now. Hopefully it'll change. But as I said, the price of Ozempic is $1,000 a month, and Ozempic's only 20% less expensive than Wegovy. I mean, it's like $1,000 a month, and Wegovy's $1,300. But that's the arrangement. I found that interesting. So here's the deal. What I'd suggest you do if you have insurance and you're interested in this and exploring this, even before you go see your doctor, not that you shouldn't go see, you're going to have to get a prescription if you want this anyway, but what I suggest you do, just so you've got facts, is, oh, hang on a second here. We want to go here. So what I suggest you do if you have insurance is get your insurance card out and call the number on the card, okay? Speak to a pharmacy or prescription drug advocate and find out the facts on what agreements might have been made between the insurance company and your employer or whoever you're getting your insurance through, and what coverage they provide specifically for Wegovy if you're wanting the version indicated for obesity. You definitely just want to say, what kind of coverage do I have for some Semaglutide? Because they may tell you the one about Ozempic, they may tell you the one about Rybelsus, and they may tell you about the one Wegovy. But I would suggest you go ahead and ask about Ozempic too. I mean, maybe you're not type 2 diabetic, or maybe you're just undiagnosed, or maybe you know you are. But whatever the case, I would ask about Ozempic as well, just to see what they say about that. Because you might still want to go see your physician to be evaluated to see if you're a type 2 diabetic, if you're obese, okay, or your BMI is 27 or greater, and you've got other issues, symptoms, comorbidities, whatever we want to call them. Okay, if your BMI is 27, you've got some of those, or if your BMI is 30 or greater and you've got none of those, you may want to at least talk to your physician to see if you are a type 2 diabetic, if you don't already know you are. So if your insurance company covers the Ozempic version but not the Wegovy version, and you are a type 2 diabetic, here's the deal. Can you just get your doc to prescribe the Ozempic version and then be good to go on the obesity side of things? Not really, no. Why? Well, because Ozempic has a max dose allowed of 1 milligram per week. It's still a once a week little pen injection, super simple like the Wegovy, but the max dose of Ozempic is 1 milligram a week. And the typical effective dose for obesity is a buildup. You build up with any of these drugs over time, but it's a buildup on Wegovy to 2.4 milligrams a week. So I don't know how effective it's going to be. I suspect that Ozempic is not going to be very effective with it only being 40% of the Wegovy dose. Okay? So it still doesn't mean that Ozempic might not be good for you. It might be, if you evaluate all the risk, benefits, all that, talk to your physician. It still might be a good way to go for treating type 2 diabetes and lowering your A1C. So you at least have the knowledge about that aspect as well. So for a quick snapshot review, I want you to check this table out. Okay, I made this. So you've got Ozempic, Rybelsus, and Wegovy. Ozempic is for type 2 diabetes mellitus, so is Rybelsus. Rybelsus is a tablet. The Ozempic and Wegovy are single-dose pen injections. The only one for obesity is which one? Quiz question, Wegovy. So all the generic names are the same, Semaglutide, for all of them. It's what they all are. They're all made by the same company, by the way. And the dosage on Ozempic is to slowly increase over weeks to 1 milligram per week max. Same thing on Rybelsus, you increase it to that dose, and for Wegovy you slowly increase it every 4 weeks to 2.4 milligrams per week, which is still a single dose, but it's 2.4 milligrams single dose pen injection. Okay, so this is the snapshot. This is what we're talking about here on Semaglutide, the 3 different versions. You got 2 pen injections on Ozempic and Wegovy, and you got a pill for Rybelsus. The Rybelsus also is only for type 2 diabetes, as I've said, as I show there. It is not for obesity. Okay, questions, thoughts, anything else, please comment. There's a lot of talk about this from medical professionals, and I thought it was important to bring it to you here. And let me talk to you about that for just a second. So why would I want to share this with you? Because I want to give you every advantage if it's what you want and it makes sense for your health specifics in collaboration with your primary care physician or whoever, endocrinologist, whatever, diabetes specialist, whatever. I want you to have every advantage possible for you to win this once and for all. Is this something where, in my mind, I'm thinking you get on Semaglutide and you stay on it forever? No. I don't know how long you would be on it if you went on it. I would not expect to be on it for 6, 8, 10 weeks. This is something that has been FDA approved for chronic weight management. So it'll depend. But I wanted to share this with you again so that you've got that advantage if it's something that makes sense for you. It's not something I wanted to hide from you because it's something outside of something I can provide. That's not how I operate. I want you to have every advantage that makes sense. That's why I don't share a lot of these things with you, though, because a lot of these types of drugs and other drugs that are more psych-based, psychology-based, psychiatric-based, that deal with neurotransmitters or whatever, I don't share a lot of those with you because the results are pretty dismal usually. For this one, the results are not dismal. Maintaining a 15% loss from your starting weight 68 weeks after starting, that is significant. There hasn't been a drug yet that has done that much. Anyway, you evaluate the risks for you, between you and your physician, see if it makes sense, and then make the best decision that you can from there. But I wanted to share this with you, and hopefully it helps some people. If you decide to go on it, please share with me, would you? And let me know that you did. This is not a crutch. It's not cheating. It's not a cop-out. It's not giving up. Remember, with this drug and any drug in this category, as even the New England Journal of Medicine authors started to write off by saying, dietary practices, lifestyle intervention, activity, all of that is the cornerstone of weight management. So that's still going to be there. Everything we do is still necessary. In fact, it's the base. The best Semaglutide can do is accentuate those practices and behaviors. Because if you're not doing those practices and behaviors, if you're not living the lifestyle, then Semaglutide isn't going to work. Okay? Nothing is. All right.